Hello, welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Dan Costa, he is Sascha Segan, and we've got a great show for you today. We're going to break down the top tech news of the day. We're going to show you one cool thing from the lab and answer some of your reader questions. Sascha, let's start with the big news of the day, and that's that Amazon is entering the enterprise sync and share market with a product called Zocalo. This is a product that's designed to compete against Dropbox, against Dropbox Box, Google Docs, all of these cloud-based service providers, but it's Amazon doing it, which means they've got a significant advantage in the market.
Yeah, I mean, I find it really interesting that Amazon, Google, and Microsoft are all rushing to do this enterprise cloud services thing, and they're all rushing to fill in whatever their gaps are in enterprise cloud services. For instance, Google a couple of weeks ago started doing domain name registrations, that was always a big hole in Google Apps. Okay, so Amazon, which has its big EC2 business, is now filling out its enterprise business with this document storage business, and all of these companies are trying to come through, I think, with a complete enterprise solution.
And if you're a company that's already using AWS, you've already using Amazon for cloud storage on the enterprise level, now they're going to have a consumer front end that for $5 a month, each individual user can get 200 gigabytes of storage. Collaboration, encryption, sharing, cross-platform support. It looks like a pretty nice package.
Now, I wonder how that pricing and the storage compare to Google's and Microsoft's offerings, but I guess that's what we'll have in the review, right?
We are going to be testing it right now. Also in the news, Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, has released a 3,000-word document, memo, outlining the future of Microsoft and where they're going. The key takeaway is that the company is moving away from devices and services and towards productivity and platform. Tell me what that means.
What that means is that Microsoft is focusing on places where Microsoft actually makes tons of money. And that is platform and cloud. Okay, so that is Windows Azure, Windows Server, Office 365, moving enterprise to the cloud, moving personal productivity to the cloud. What they seem to be stepping back on is, I mean, first of all, this Windows everywhere concept, and also just in general, devices. I mean, they say, yeah, we're going to push the Windows marketplace forward with our Nokia devices, and they mention Surface Pro 3. They devote an entire sort of weird standalone paragraph to Xbox, but the passion here seems to be in these cloud productivity services.
Yeah, and they do promise, he does say that he's not going to step back from Xbox. It's important to have a consumer space. It's part of their digital lifestyle play. It's going to enable these productivity applications and productivity services, I want to call it, and they look at it as a platform they want to invest in.
There's one other thing that I wanted to call out, though, which is that towards the end of the memo, he hits a whole bunch of times this point that Microsoft has to simplify and move faster and more efficiently. And this has been a big, big problem for Microsoft historically. This is why Microsoft is behind in mobile, because Microsoft has been moving more slowly than Apple and Google. So figuring out how to streamline the processes within Microsoft, the post-bomber Microsoft, that is really the big change, the positive change Nadella could bring.
There are a lot of hints in there. When he talks about process, he talks about simplification. I translate that as restructuring, streamlining, both product development and how they innovate. So
there's going to be some layoffs.
There's going to be some changes.
Yeah.
Also in the news, Elon Musk is donating $1 million to build the Tesla Museum. This is the result of Matthew Inman of the Oatmeal, who started this campaign in 2012 to save the property of Nikola Tesla's original lab. They have now saved the property, but they need to actually build a museum, and they need money to do that.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the property, which was up for sale and got bought, is a giant sinkhole of asbestos, and it needs to be remediated. Then they want to build a science center there with various programs. It'll take, I heard, $8 million. And so Matthew Inman and this Tesla Science Center Foundation are running around trying to get the $8 million. And of course, Elon Musk has an entire business based on the Tesla name. So Inman was like, hey, Elon, why don't you kick something in here?
And he did, to the tune of $1 million, and he's actually going to put a charging station on the property as well, which is also very cool. You can donate to the Nikola Tesla Research Project at teslasciencecenter.org/donate. I'm going to do it this weekend. Let's move on to a reader question. We take reader questions on YouTube, via Twitter, on Facebook. This question came in on YouTube. Ted wanted to know, what is that cool screensaver that's always on behind Sascha's head?
Okay, well, there are two screensavers that we usually have in frame on this show, and so I'm going to tell you about both of them. This one here is just Windows 8. And what has happened here is that we've loaded the Bing Sports and Weather apps on Windows 8 and snapped each of them to half the screen. So it's not really a screensaver, it's some apps running. Now what we usually have over here on that TV, that is the default Apple TV screensaver. There's an Apple TV plugged into that TV, and it has a set of default photos loaded onto it. And if you leave your Apple TV alone, it'll just scroll through all the photos stored on the device.
There you go. Mystery solved. Let's move on to one cool thing. We test thousands of products here in our lab in New York City every year. Every day we take one thing off the shelf and show it to you live. Today that thing is the Ultimaker 2. This is the second generation product from Ultimaker. It is a 3D printer. It is our editor's choice 3D printer. It's $3,000, but the reason this really stands out from the rest of the crowd is that it's consistently printing high quality objects. We've tested a lot of 3D printers here in the lab, and all of them do great work, but they can be inconsistent. The nozzles jam, they need a lot of maintenance, they need a lot of work. This thing has been running smoothly since we got it into the lab, and that's really what makes it the editor's choice.
So what you're saying here is your Yoda heads will be more Yoda-like as you mass produce them for your Yoda head sales.
The force is with the Yoda heads. It's also got really easy navigation, a really large build area here. It's easy to work with. The software works really well. It only prints via the SD card, so it doesn't connect to your computer via USB, but that's not really that big a deal because once you get the project loaded on there, it's just a question of clicking print. You can read Tony Hoffman's full review of this printer at PCMag.com. And that is PCMag Live for today, and I just realized that Sascha did the entire show with an Infinity Gauntlet on. I don't know why, but that's the type of thing that happens here at PCMag Live. Tune in next week. We will do a brand new show, and you'll see what kind of gauntlet Sascha is wearing then.